Welcome to the Stay Ready Real Estate Podcast, where we stay ready so you don't have to get ready. I'm your host, Emeka, and in each episode, I'll be breaking down real estate topics to help you find and lock in your first deal. This podcast is all about building wealth through real estate, and the best part, you don't need a lot of money to get started. So let's jump right into it. What is going on? It's your boy, Emeka, and today we're going to have a lovely episode, and it's going to be the real, like I give you on every single episode I talk about. And today what we're going to talk about is what social media doesn't talk about, right? What they don't want to show you, because social media is about highlights, podcasts is about highlights, books, maybe not so much about highlights, because to be a book, it'd be long, it gives you the whole story. But I'm here to give you a book worth of information within the next 5 to 10 minutes. And I hope you find it valuable. And if you do, just hit that little subscribe button. But what social media does like to talk about is highlights. And what are those highlights? The highlights are, quote unquote, I made 50 grand in 5 months, or quote unquote, oh, just got another deal. This is my 5th of the year. But what they never talk about is what happens after the deal, right? They don't talk about everything that goes from acquiring to selling. And literally, no exaggeration at all. The most important part of being able to make that 50 grand in 5 months, or being successful when it comes to these deals, is the operator, the operations, right? What you're doing in the middle, what you're doing to make that money, right? And what I'm talking about here is, honestly, quite frankly, I'm never really going to be talking about turnkey properties, right? What a turnkey property is you buy a house that is already ready, you buy a multifamily that is already ready, you just turn the keys over and it's ready to rent, sell, whatever you fill in the blank. I'm talking about all the properties where you make the most money and the most return. And quite frankly, that is whenever you have a fixer upper. But no one talks about what it actually takes in order to make a deal successful. Nobody talks about the stress that it comes with. No one talks about the conversations with the bank, the proof they have to give to the bank, especially when you're just starting out. They're going to need a reserve. They're going to need some kind of history. They're going to need to know that you are competent enough to execute a business plan, right? They don't talk about the things beforehand, right? When I say they, anyone on social media claiming that they are a guru and they know everything about real estate, et cetera, right? And I'm going to give you 2 different layers, right? I am a multi-family operator, right? I'm a boots on the ground. I have weekly meetings with my teams regarding the properties that we hold. We have 10, 16, and 6 units that I currently operate with other GPs. And then I'm going to talk about the flips, right? And then with the flips, it's also somewhat the same as rentals when it comes to the process of buying and rehabbing instead of selling, just renting. So that's why I'm going to just keep it to those 2. So let's talk about multifamily to start off with. Everybody loves to talk about, just bought another multifamily unit. It has 20 doors, AUM 10 million, right? Assets under management, right? That is very sexy. It's sexy. Yeah, it's just sexy to say I got 20 doors and I own this much. It doesn't really mean much, quite frankly, right? I do have 30 something doors. With 16 plus 10, 26 plus 6 is 32. So I got 32 multifamily doors under management. And don't get me wrong, it is a good feat. I am happy about it. That is something people should be happy about. But the reality is, I had a great network. I am a trustworthy person. My partner on Small Axe Properties, he's the one that found the deal. He was the one that was working with the brokers. He did a bunch of grunt work, doing the underwriting, all that jazz, right? I didn't do any of that, right? What I did do was I looked at the property, I took photos, I gave recon in the neighborhood, which is still work, right? You got to make sure what you're investing in, where you're investing, it matters, right? Just because you might be in a good city, there's pockets of the cities that could make things terrible. But I did do work, but I didn't do the grunt work like Nico did, right? My other partner, Mr. Shane, what did he do? He had to estimate what these big capex expenses are going to be: the roof, the electrical, the uh, um, the pavement, what am I trying to say? The driveway, right? That's something to budget for, and unless you have some kind of experience or kind of know what to look for, it's kind of hard to do that, right? I mean, I'm in this deal, but I didn't do the grunt work of it. I am still doing work, right? But all I'm going to post, and I'll just be real with you, oh, I just closed 10 units, right? Now, that's the exciting part. That's what's posted on social media. But what is not posted on social media is the work it takes to keep the deal alive and going. Just because you buy the deal, that doesn't mean where it stops. No one wants to talk about the weekly calls that we have and the fact that it is a tough rental market and there's A-class properties everywhere having so many concessions where they're taking C-class renters, right? Those are our class of renters, and it might be tough, especially we're 100% occupied, whoop, whoop. But if we're at 80% occupancy, right, we have investors to pay. Our investors have a certain amount of money that they expect as a return. So it does get stressful when things are tougher than when we first bought it in 2023, I believe, when things were a lot easier, right? No one talks about the homeless that come to your property. And there's not much you can do because unless the homeless are there when the cops come, they can't do anything. Or if your neighbors have homeless right next to your property, making people look away or not wanting to rent, they don't talk about the strategies and what we have to go through when it comes to that. And it's not fun, especially when you're limited on the things that you can do. Right. That's a mouthful. But operating and figuring out different strategies to get your property to 100% like we do is not fun. It's not sexy. Who cares about listening to that, right? The only people who do care are the real operators who understand that things are tough, right? We went through a couple of months where it was, we had a bunch of maintenance calls. We can't get things rented, right? We have a C-class property, and these things are not easy, right? What can we do to make sure we can stop the bleeding, right? When there is 1 month that is vacant, that is thousands of dollars that are lost. And when it comes to the return that we expect, that directly affects us, and that is stressful, right? A lot of people want to talk about getting deals and underwriting for new deals, and you want to underwrite every single day, underwrite every single week, underwrite all the time, always be looking for deals. Yes, I understand, but it's just unrealistic. It is unrealistic, right? Yes, you can underwrite every day, but some people have families, right? And I was the person who drank the real estate juice and thought I should be underwriting every day. I'm slacking because I'm not. Like there's so much, there's 24 hours in a day. What are you gonna do with it, right? You can just spend every single second being productive. Yes, there are some people like that, but they are the outliers, and that's not what they're going to tell you on social media, right? It's tough being an operator, and you have to understand that this stuff is meant to be hard. And even though it's meant to be hard, what we're trying to post on social media is not meant for it to look hard. We want it to look easy so we can wrap you in and bring you into the real estate juice, because real estate is great. But a lot of people, when it comes to public figures and people who are posting all the time, they don't want to talk about the hard that it comes with, right? It is hard keeping tenants in your property. We are at 100% for the 10 unit, but sometimes we're not 100% often. People leave, people die, people complain about literally everything, every little piece of something that they complain for. Oh, the cabinet is not 100% crooked. It's like 99% perfect, but that 1% is so, like, I've had so many different issues, right? We bought a 6 unit, and there's someone who is literally sweating every single time I've seen them because he is literally probably on crack, coke, hair, whatever. He's sweating because he's on drugs. He's threatening to put us on the news and saying we're kicking him out and we have a right to when he is not paying, right? Like, there's a bunch of different stresses that we have to deal with that isn't sexy, that isn't fun, but it comes with being an operator and being a real estate investor. right? These are the things that people don't talk about. People don't talk about the fact that, yes, we got a 6 unit. In 2 days, this is supposed to be a flip. And then 2 days before we're supposed to sell, someone literally runs into our kitchen. I say run, crashes cars into a kitchen. They move out, the property is damaged, and now the buyer doesn't want to deal with it because now we have insurance. So there is the list kind of goes on and on and on. And it's stressful. It's not always fun, but it's the reality. It's work at the end of the day. I don't see real estate as work. It is my hobby. I will never classify it as work, but the actual action items that comes with it when it's not fun, it is work. There is hours you got to put in that are not going to be fun. Going to the county to make sure we got the right permits, finding a GC who wants to work with us because the job is not that big and it's not necessarily small, but it's not worth most people's time. I have those connections to work with it, but people don't want to talk about the fact that we're making this work due to I have connections. We're making this work because Nico has connections with, like, there's so much that goes into it that people don't want to talk about. But it's nice to have 10 doors, right? It's nice to have 30 doors and have all these assets under management. So what I want you to understand is don't fall for the gaslighting. Yes, all these people who are in real estate that are proven that they can get deals done and they can buy deals. Buying a deal might honestly be one of the easiest parts. It's operating and executing. Right now, that's multifamily and operating those deals. Let's talk about flips, right? I love posting when I get another deal, right? I just want to continue to show the world that I am active, I am doing this, and I post on YouTube that, yes, I am active and I am doing this. But I'm also posting on YouTube the real, right? If you go on my YouTube channel, just go to my Valrico flip. You can see all the drama that we're dealing with. No one wants to talk about or show or post on Instagram and YouTube the fact that we had a contractor walk out in this mid job because there was disputes. No one wants to talk about the failed inspections on multiple occasions and how an inspector wanted to freaking end our job, give us, I believe what is called a red tape, and make us literally stop working until, quote unquote, we do everything the correct way. Even though we already did it the correct way, the inspector been wrong. But that is a stress that we have to deal with, and that is not going to be publicized because who wants to hear somebody complain about the things you got to deal with when real estate is supposed to be easy and you make money fast, right? No, it's just not that way. Nobody wants to talk about when you buy a flip with the foundation issue that you knew about, but the budget that you expected for the foundation ended up being 30 plus more grand than you expected, right? Because that's not fun. Who wants to hear that? Right? No one wants to hear about how someone goes 60 grand over budget and you have to pivot and figure out a way to not lose money, right? In this podcast, what I truly want you to understand is, yes, real estate is for people who want to build wealth. Yes, real estate is a place to make money, to have fun, to make monthly cash flow, to accumulate multiple properties for a tangible asset for a retirement income. Yes, but it's not easy. It's supposed to be hard. It's not supposed to be easy. Most things that are hard are typically worth doing, period, point blank. Because if it was easy, everybody would do it, right? And I've said that on multiple occasions, but I like to reiterate the fact that you're listening to this podcast because you have some form of interest in real estate investing. And I'm here to show you, not scare you, typically show you what it is. And it is hard. But I am here to help you. And if you're interested in investing with me, if you're interested in investing by yourself and you want tips, guidance, you want to just hear me talk, pick my brain, feel free to reach out, comment on my YouTube channel, go to my website. I have all this information in the bio. But understand that Instagram, podcasts, Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, even LinkedIn, the professional social media, all that stuff that you see people posting about in real estate, that is someone's resume. That is someone's best features on why they are so great and why they make things happen. And yes, a lot of those people can really make things happen, and sometimes they do make it easy. Don't get it twisted. Real estate's great. It's not easy. It's meant to be hard. In this podcast, what I really want you to gather is don't believe everything that you see on social media. Take everything for face value. But for you to truly understand what it takes to be a real estate investor, you need to invest and stop it. Jump into the space and learn by experience, and you're going to see so yourself what it really takes to be an investor, and that is something that is invaluable. Until next time, team. See ya. Thanks for tuning into the podcast. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, make sure you like and subscribe so you never miss when a new one drops. And if you're loving this content, come join me over on YouTube. My link is down below in the comments. I take you behind the scenes of my real life as a real estate investor. You get to see inside my flips, my rentals. You get to see the full journey of me growing from basically 33 units to 100 units, which is the goal I'm shooting for. No highlight reels, no sugarcoating, just a real thing. See you next week.